So, question for both of you on how this plays into your answer. We all know what happened January 6th, the insurrection. Was that a response to government overreach? Was that a response of people living out their freedoms and their rights? How would you describe that? And I'll start with you, Scott.
Well, you know, I condemn what happened on January 6th, the day that it happened. I mean, this was, you know, the actions of a few individuals who have been prosecuted. But I don't think that, you know, the people that walked into the Capitol that day don't represent the vast majority of who Republicans are. I mean, you know, January 6th was terrible. It was condemned from every person in our party, and said this is not the way that we react. We get ourselves back together, we dust off, we get back to the ballot box, and we hope that in the next 90 days that a lot of being able to change the direction of where we've gone as a country over the last couple of years will be remedied at the polls. And as Americans, that's what we should all be striving for.
Well, you know, we talk about government overreach. I mean, we've got folks serving in the state legislature right now who was there on January the 6th, carrying out treasonous act against this nation. Is it government overreach? I guess when you have the President of the United States encouraging people to overthrow a fair election where more people went to the polls and voted than ever before in the history of this country, you have to ask, is that government overreach from the highest pulpit in government? But I want to tag back just a little bit because we talked about that government overreach piece. I mean, we live in a state where government overreach is at an all-time high under a Republican-controlled legislature, Republican-controlled governor, where they've tried to control every aspect of everyone's lives. Who you can marry, what you can teach in schools, who can have health care and who can't have health care. You know, it's become insane, the level of how entrenched these folks in this Republican legislature have become in trying to control every aspect of everyone's life. I'm happy today to be able to say that we're the party in Tennessee that's actually making sure that people can express and really grapple and hold on to their personal freedoms. What happened on January the 6th was a culmination of an out-of-control Republican agenda and ideology that really truly started at the top and worked its way down in a very manipulative way in corroding what could essentially have been, you know, the party of all this freedom and choice and rights. But when that becomes a violent assault on our nation and our democracy.
So Scott,
that's no different.
Scott, I want to give you a chance to rebuttal that, and kind of break away from what Hendrell is saying about Republicans are the ones that are trying to be entrenched in controlling Americans' everyday freedoms and rights.
Washington just passed a bill this week that President Biden signed today that had 87,000 new IRS agents. Now tell me that's not a top-down government overreach. We can't fit the number of new IRS agents in Titan Stadium. That's how many that people are going to be added to the government to make sure that you're not spending your money correctly. There was a bill in Congress that was introduced last year that you had to report any expenditure over $600 in your bank account. This is scary government stuff.